What is this video about? It is about a reaction video a little bit about someone who I felt was a little bit closed-minded and arrogant about where value creation comes from exactly, and just my opinion about it a little bit. And then, of course, also, possibly some closed-minded things. So anyway, it's a reaction to Jubilee video regarding like rich versus poor stuff. And so I don't think it's just the investor or the owner that creates value creation when it could be the sales commission guy or the realtor. That's a little bit more direct, obvious. They get commissions, they get compensation when they get commission for the value they create. The owner typically recognizes that because they created value for the company. However, retail clerks or something where they're saying push this product or sell this product or something like that, they're not necessarily getting, at least in my case, that compensation, that kickback in that sense, or even necessarily a bonus. And it's just like, you're just doing a job and stuff like that. But however, I've had customers tell me the only reason why I come here is because you work here. Who knows how true that holds when I quit one day or whatever, if they're still going to come or if they're just going to shop there less. Just like if you go to a restaurant and they just serve regular food and you're going there and requesting a waiter or a waitress, are you going to go back? If they quit, or are you going to go to the new restaurant they're at and then you might like that restaurant better? So the next thing was, the value creation that comes up as well in other videos. I saw it, and it infuriated me a few months back, maybe a year ago. And I heard it again and again and again. And these rich people or very well-off people say, like they're in a prominent position. So maybe they're not even rich. They could be in debt up to the eyeballs. But they say, my parents taught me the value of hard work. Like, poor people, like their parents don't teach them the value of hard work. Are you joking? Like their parents didn't teach them the value of hard work. It doesn't mean that necessarily something could have happened to them. There could be other situations, maybe, like I said in the previous video, just earlier today. I'm going to post this the next day. But there could have been children that could be taking care of their nephews, their nieces, their grandchildren. There could have been a death in the family. There could be medical condition. There could have been a car accident. There could be all these other things that went on. And you're just sitting there saying, oh, well, you asked for what you got for, and they didn't. And so not every person that is in that position has that outlook that goes, okay. And there are the things, they say that there are people that live paycheck to paycheck that have $500,000 a year or whatever, and someone else in a lower income has much more substantial savings, especially when it comes to margin on their income and their lifestyle and what it takes to replace that lifestyle. And so what value creation comes from that. And so the whole thing with value creation, this guy, he also said that the record label somehow didn't know. He's like, they don't exploit, we give them opportunities. And so I've taken a course in college, and the course from a professor that had worked in the record industry for I think over 20 years, he said. And so from these two courses that I took, record industry and survey of the music business, from those two courses and what I heard from other musicians in the classroom, yes, I would say that they exploit, definitely. However, just because I didn't work in the record industry, I don't think that means that, because it's like me as a cashier saying, oh, you've never been a cashier, you can't say anything, because you can't say anything that I consider wrong from my point of view. It's false. If I've been a procurement analyst, it's like me saying, oh, you can't say that because that's not how it works. It could have worked differently, and I could declare them wrong because I worked in corporate about something else. And so to say that and declare your knowledge completely moot because I'm going to declare myself an expert because from my point of view, and I'm going to say this very insultingly, I own a record industry and I exploit people, but I don't want you saying that. And so I'm going to declare you false in that I give people opportunities, like I'm giving them a handout or something when they want to be. He I think was one of the people that said he worked for everything he earned, but they can't say that they worked for everything they earned, because he's sitting there saying that he's giving them an opportunity. Like, that they couldn't create the value for themselves necessarily. And so you have this whole thing where I'm sitting here like, there's other things, if when artists do their thing, but there was the big thing with Christina Milian, and the record industry wouldn't drop her from the label. They wouldn't release her album, so she was stuck. And so that is one thing. When they take a huge percentage of the records industry, when the record industry takes a huge percentage of it, but there's artists out there that maybe only go gold that aren't rich. They have a gold record or a platinum record, they're not rich because the record industry says, oh, you owe us all this money. And so, and then there's accounting practices, and which is why you hear about them saying, oh, you've given us, we're suing our record label, but they had to give them a 6-month notice for an audit, so they might get the opportunity at the record label while they're getting ready for the 6-month notification for the audit to fix anything, to change anything. They'll call it fixing something, but they could be, of course, looking for ways to charge them or whatever. It might not. But that, some of the stuff that gets found in those audits is like, and they had a 6-month notice to, from one point of view, to hide stuff. Another point of view from them, they might be viewing it as fixing stuff. And so if they're in that predicament, and the Starlight Dream and stuff like that gets presented. And then who creates value for the record label? A lot of the successfully exploited artists, right? But that is just one point of view. Of course, this is not a Jubilee video. This is just another YouTuber just trying to create videos. Hopefully you're watching. But where the value creation comes from, commissions, like I said, back to this car salesman, realtors, and other stuff, they get a kickback. And then even a waiter and waitress might get a tip or not. And then if you get a bonus from your company, and then what's considered value creation, the management might get value creation. But the whole problem that I have, I guess, with management, going into management, is the idea that you're responsible for stuff that's out of your control. And when you're responsible for stuff that's out of your control, and you could even be written up for it or get in trouble for it, that's a bunch of bull. And that was my reality experience at a fuel station. I was a manager of one of the big ones that you see out there, a huge one. And, they didn't always have prepay required. So you could be written up or responsible for drive-offs on your shift. And that didn't make sense either. Like, people are stealing gas and you're responsible. There was a couple things. There was like, no breaks in an 8-9 hour shift. Except if they smoked, the smokers could have a smoke break. So someone that comes in and says, oh, they own a gas station, they know what it's like to work there and be in that position. It may be, it doesn't mean they don't, but from one other point of view, if they're getting 100% of the profits at a gas station and they don't get a break, or they don't give themselves a break, one, it could be by choice, right? And then two, the value that they get to directly extract value from that and get that, whatever it is, $30,000 per day in profit, whatever it is, could be 100, could be whatever. And so they get that value directly from that. And you're working on this hour by hour shift, and to not be written up for certain stuff, and to be able to be the decision maker from that point of view, if you owned it versus the owner versus an employee, those are two different standpoints. So there's some stuff that you're like, okay, I'm not sure how much you can really relate to that because you're from an owner standpoint, but from an employee standpoint. And so what I'm saying there, how I recognize that, is when I am in my own home or apartment, I recognize, oh, I'm in charge of everything. I don't have to share the air conditioner. I don't have to go over there and be like, what do you want for dinner? Let's share the food. Let's share what we're going to do about the temperature, about if I'm going to play loud music, if I'm going to say, oh, I want everything quiet. I get to be the decision maker, and I get to benefit the profits from that, the relaxation or the noise or the stress. I get to be a lot of the deciding factor in that. And I still live here, but if someone else was the decision maker or there was a partnership, that is not the same thing as the partnership or being the employee of a gas station. So to sit there and say, oh, you know what it's like, because it's not, you're at a submissive standpoint and you're not getting the same reaping the same benefits in as the owner, the same results from any value, for example, that gets created out of the organization. And so, with that said, I'm going to cut it off right now. I hope that you had a great time, but what is this video about? And it's just a reaction video. I saw it yesterday, and I was just like, thought about it today, and I was like, I think that guy was a little out of line, and hopefully someone will click on this video, comment, or just like the video. Yeah, definitely like the video if you watched to this end point, and let me know that I'm getting out there some content, okay? Thank you so much. Bye.